everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast. And today we have our coaches preview from over in the St. Louis Suburban. I'm loving this part. We have joining us, I got to stop because real quick, it's Nick, right?
Nicholas, but I go by Cole, yeah.
You go by Cole?
Yeah, I go by Cole.
Okay. I did that here. It's okay. Because I was like, I got to ask him because I see your emails and I'm like, Nicholas, I thought I called him Cole when he was.
I go by Cole. I don't know why my mom called me Nicholas. I never gone by it, so.
Well, hey, so we'll call you Cole. If your mom called you Nicholas. Right?
She did. No, she doesn't even. She's naming that.
But we have Cole DuPont from Lafayette High School, and this year we're excited to be on the visiting side, but we're going to be over at Eureka for your game against Eureka. I love that matchup. I have a connection because both my nephews played at Lafayette, and I know I think I told you that Tyler Wary, he played with your older brother,
right? Yep.
And when he was a freshman. So, this is all ancient
I actually
history,
told my brother about that yesterday when I told him I was coming out here.
Yeah.
I was like, his nephew was Tyler Weary. He's like, no way.
It's a small world.
I know.
Baseball is a small community. Yep. It really is. But we're glad to have you, man. Look forward to. I really. I'll tell this story about Coach DuPont here. First time I saw you coaching was over at West in the Midwest Classic. I think it was Midwest. It was Troy or Midwest, but I think it was Midwest. Yeah, last year.
Yeah, Midwest Classic.
And Xander Schmidt was kind of having a rough day. And he comes in. You could see he was visibly upset. I'm just kind of standing. I was there just watching the game because I wanted to see you guys play. And you went over and sat down next to him. You guys were coming up to bat. You didn't go out to third base. You sat there and you spent probably 15 minutes talking to that young man. I don't know what it was or that, but I understand you were trying to help him. And that showed a lot, in my opinion, about you as a coach. I was impressed just from that right there. I was like, he could have cared less about what you guys were doing offensively right then. You had one of your best players struggling probably mentally and things like that. Mm-hmm. That was impressive. And, that really showed me a lot. And then when we saw you at the championships, you could see that your care and your passion for these kids on display, and I think why they made the run they made.
Yeah, they play hard. Going back to that one, these players now have so much pressure on them from all sorts of different things. And with him, he was a Division I commit and had some professional guys talking to him. His college coaches are talking about professional ball, and there's just a lot going on for a 17, 18-year-old player at that point, and they want to be perfect.
Yeah.
We were just talking to Coach Sissel of how they're having to perform a certain way for scouts, but it's different in a game. They just have a lot of pressure on them, and I wasn't quite that good, but I was committed at one point. I know the pressure that it's exciting, but there's also pressure that comes with it. My older brother was a draft pick out of high school, and I watched his experience, driving home every day and the pressure that put on him. So those special players that have those opportunities, it's awesome. But it's hard for a lot of people to understand what they're really going through and the pressure they're putting on themselves. And then you have coaches, you have parents, you have friends, how many of them play together in summer? They're playing against guys that they know. That's a little different. I think back to playing Marquette and Eureka when I was a player, and you got a little extra for those than if you're just playing someone that you don't know anyone on the team. So I think just trying to take the pressure off them, be there for them, and just help them be the best they can be.
You guys, your conference record was really good last year, 9-3. You were overall 25-13. Finished second. That was a heck of a championship game. Mm-hmm. I thought you guys were going to come back and pull that off.
I thought so too.
Impressive to me was Tyson Oswald throwing the no-hitter in the semifinal. Was that anything in your wildest imagination?
No, especially how good that team was.
Right.
It
was Liberty North.
Yeah, Liberty North, who had won 2 in a row, and a lot of really good players on that team. Trey's professional baseball player, and he tagged a couple that day, and we were right where they hit it.
Yeah.
I think he told me that was his only no-hitter in his life. He hadn't even thrown it up into that point. He hadn't played teams that good.
Yeah.
But he was so good that day. Fastball, the breaking ball, like we talked about, being able to throw it in any count. He was great, executed well. And our coaching staff, when I was coming in here, I was like, what do I want to talk about, kind of emphasize about our program? And it's, O'Connell, the pitching coach, the way he calls a game and attacks hitters and sees what does a hitter want to hit? All right, we're going to throw something else. And then the way he gets our pitchers to believe in how we're going to attack hitters, and then the way that they execute it that day was special. And then I think about other assistant coaches, Atkins, Holtman, the scouting reports that we do of where are they going to hit it. You were at that game.
Yeah.
There was a lot of balls that were hit hard. We were right there.
Yes.
You think about Parkway South, too. I remember Coach Brown said, we hit balls hard. They just seem to be right there.
Yeah.
And I think that is a testament to the preparation that our coaches put in, that our players believe in, what they're telling them. And then the players go out and execute it. So
yeah, it's nice
they make
to
the
have
plays.
that,
They make the plays.
That Callahan kid that
Yeah.
doubles go to die.
Yeah, he ran everything down. I mean, Gebhardt was awesome that day. Paul was awesome
Yeah.
that day. Ben Dimmick that day was playing first base but not hitting, and he, I think, had 7 putouts in that game.
Yeah.
It was so cool for a kid like that who did his role all year. And then there's certain games where they don't even hit you the ball at first base. You're just catching it, something like that. But he had like 3 pop-ups, ground outs. He made every play. And I was like, not a lot of people get that opportunity to play in this game and make those type of plays. So, and Tyson said, I think he posted that day, he's like, best defense in the state. Because he only had 1 strikeout.
Yes.
1 or 2.
Yes.
So they're putting in play. That was a great team win. I mean, obviously Tyson deserves all the credit. He went out there and
you got to throw.
amazing,
Yeah, you got to pitch, right?
That was special.
The other thing, Coach, is I'm sitting behind the plate with Kevin Mulder from Prep Baseball Report, and we're watching this. And as I'm going through this, I looked at Kevin. I said, the thing that to me, and we all know this, and it's not a dig at other umpires or whatnot or this or that. Sometimes with high school umpires,
I think I was locked in that day.
It was a legit strike zone. The umpire was really good. He wasn't giving. All high school umpires give a little. It's just, but to me, a really good high school umpire is a guy that gives a little bit to the pitcher, but also keeps it competitive for your hitter. Right?
Right.
And I think, and this guy was so good behind the plate that day. It was legitimate. That's the thing that stands out to me is how good Tyson was that day. And it was legitimate that you weren't getting strikes like
right. Yeah. That's what I think made it more impressive what he did. It's like that was a legit zone that he just attacked and went at him. And I remember Tyson and Xander were in the car after that game. They're like, that umpire was awesome. Like, they noticed it. I was with Michael and the team the other day. We had an award ceremony for our school district, and Michael brought that umpire up again on Thursday.
Yes.
Like, that umpire that we had in that game was so good. It's like it was noticeable how good he was.
Because, like you said, Oswald is not a strikeout pitcher, right? He
can be.
He
can be.
He gets strikeouts, but he's a ball to contact and puts the ball in play. From what I saw and whatnot, looking at stats and things like that. So it was real. I mean, that's what he does, and it's just one of those things that comes together. And to do it on that stage,
yeah,
I think that was one of the highlights of the whole week for me.
Yeah, that was in my time coaching the single best performance I've seen out of one player.
Absolutely.
In years. I mean,
it was impressive.
To do it against that team in that moment, just the way he did it was awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't Podunk High School.
No. And I told you, I don't
No
know
offense to other high schools, but
they're pretty good. And I don't know if I told the newspaper this, but the coolest thing about that was in January, he came to practice one day. He was like, my arm's done, and I have to have surgery. So he was a kid that loved Lafayette baseball, and he played from the day I took over, he was always like that guy when he had the big long hair. I didn't want him to cut the hair, but he finally did that. He always did whatever we asked him. He's a leader. Kids followed him. And then when he came to me that day, he was like, I'm done. It was a blow to him, the whole team. Like, it was tough. And for him to see another doctor and get a better diagnosis and battle back, because he didn't pitch for the first month for us, month and a half.
right.
And easing him back into it. And then to have that moment and that performance after 6 months earlier, we were looking like he was done. He was going to be sitting in the dugout with a sling on. So for him to do that it still gives me goosebumps just thinking about what he did and that experience for him.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I knew you guys had a lot of injuries early, and a lot of your losses were early. So I thought, you started really playing good baseball through that end of the season. But this is 2025. We know that Xander Schmidt's moved on, Oswald's moved on, Paul Pratt, Will Gebhardt, Daxton, what is it, Shockey?
Shockey, yep.
Yeah. They're all moved on. You got some returning seniors. One of the things that really stood out to me is, you got a kid coming back senior. We'll talk about some of the other pitchers, but was it Ren Fiss? 2.92 ERA, 4-1. Right there, senior leadership on the mound. That's always huge, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You sent me this and looking at what is our strength going to be, and I think it's going to be that pitching, because even if you look at Ren's a senior, but you're looking at Landon and Drew, who also threw 50, 40 innings. I looked at that today. 135 innings between those three guys that are coming back. Just the experience on the mound, what they went through last year. All of them pitched in that state championship game, and that's an experience.
And two of them as sophomores.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we had several sophomores on the field that day, so that, I think, has everyone excited about hopefully continuing to build what we've done on the last couple of years. But, yeah, Ren just committed to Merrimack the other day. Coach Goodrich got a good one there. He's a really talented pitcher. And putting it together this year, that was his first time. He didn't have any, cup of coffee as a sophomore. To go out there and do what he did is very impressive, and I'm very excited about him and what he can do this year. And then Landon Martin committed to Drury. He's a senior as well. Hasn't been able – he's dealt with a lot of injuries, kind of inconsistent. It's like he's able to pitch, and then we're off for, hurt for a week, or pitch, and then just hasn't been able to get on that consistent schedule and like some of our other guys. But talent-wise, I mean, anyone who's seen him pitch, he can throw it. He's got really good stuff. It's just getting him consistently out there attacking the zone. I think he could have a really good season for us as another senior.
I love that. Offensively, you got, and this is it. A lot of the things offensively, Callahan, of course, Missouri State commit coming back. That's nice to have that kid right back. The one thing that stood out to me, you always look at was two things. The on-base percentage was .514.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. I don't care what level you're playing. And then 37 stolen bases.
37 bags. He broke my brother's record.
Did he really?
Yeah, he broke the single-season record, and I think he's 12 away from the career record.
Oh, he'll get that.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy,
so,
right? Yeah. I mean,
as long as he stays healthy, he'll be shattering that record. So it's funny. I get to give my older brother trouble about that. I was like, yeah, that's long gone now, because I think he only had 30. I mean, he shattered his single-season record, and he's going to shatter his career record. So he's a special player. I mean, anyone who watches him play, it's different. His athleticism, just the way he plays, and he plays so hard. There's talented guys that'll just go off the talent, but for as good as he is and athletic as he is, and then how hard he plays, it's just fun to watch. You talk to other coaches around our league, and they're like, man, when it is just intimidating. because if he gets on first base any way he can, he's going to be on third.
Right.
And he's going to, I mean, he stole home against St. Dominic. I think
Did
it
he
was
really?
our only run in that game. He stole home in that one. And that was the only time he did it. I didn't tell him to do that. He just did it. I was like, well, that was cool. But he's just a special player. And how hard he plays, I tell him a lot. It's like when you're the best player, everyone's looking at you, and you set the tone. And how hard he plays gets everyone else to fall in line with him.
There's three other guys or a couple other guys here that are. I saw Jonah Nosovich at a PBR event, looked pretty good, and then CJ Campbell was one of the few guys that a pretty good contributor from last year's squad. 309, 374, 19 runs scored, 11 ribbies, had a solid junior campaign. He's going to Jeffco. Where do you see those two guys fitting into this scheme as seniors? And
Well, Jonah's a junior.
is Jonah a junior? Did I
Jonah
mess
is
that
a
up?
junior, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
he'll
I
be a
messed
junior.
that up.
So
My fault.
CJ,
Yes.
CJ, switch hitter, hit kind of anywhere between, I think, 5 through the 7 last year. He was, I think, Michael's a junior. Him and Michael were the only junior hitters. We had a lot of seniors and some sophomores that were in there. And his freshman, sophomore year had some trouble staying healthy. And then for him to go out there last year, I think he came out real hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he played really well at the start, caught everyone's attention. Another kid that plays really hard.
Yeah.
Switch hitter, does a good job bunting, does a good job running, good athlete, great defensively, played a really solid second base for us this year. He's going to have, we're losing Paul and Will, so there's going to be opportunities on the infield. It's like wherever he fits in there, shortstop, second base. And I think experiencing what he went through last year will help, because we're going to have to find 3 new infielders to fill those holes that we're losing. So I think his experience and leadership can help everyone else out for us this year.
I want to look at that because when you're talking about, there's Wyatt Wathen that we haven't talked about, Andrew Lamb, Brady Morrell, James Doley, T.J. Bender. These are some of the names that were on the roster last year.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite sure. You're losing Schmidt behind the plate. You're losing your middle. The only guy you got returning up the middle is Callahan. Defensively, you got some decisions to make. What does that look like for you guys?
You wrote down issues to overcome for the season. I said replacing key positions defensively. Schmidt catching, Pratt at short, Gebhardt at third, Shockey in right, the best right fielder I saw all year. He won the Gold Glove for our conference. I think he didn't make a single error last year, and then plays he made, just being in the right position, always throwing runners out, being where he's supposed to be, doing what he's supposed to do. Like, he was a steady hand for us in right field, and maybe a spot we prioritize defense quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I know some teams might just put someone in right field, but it was Shockey in right field every day, and it was an advantage for us if a ball went out there. So just the way those guys were able to play defensively, filling those holes is what I am thinking about the most as we come into this year. What I talk to the coaches about is finding guys to replace them. And I think we have a lot of talented players. I think Lafayette always has talented players. We got awesome baseball players that can play. It's just getting them to play our style, and then just working as much as we do on defense over time, getting better, more comfortable to be able to execute the way that we did last year and the year before that. I think one thing that'll be interesting for us this year is you look at Schmidt, Pratt, Gebhardt, Shockey, Oswald as far as our defense goes. Mm-hmm. They're pretty solidified. They all played as juniors, and they were all coming back as seniors. And it was pretty solidified that those guys were going to be in the lineup as the leaders, and they went out and they did exactly what they were supposed to. I think it's an exciting year this year where, Michael's back, CJ's back, Chase Rader's back. But outside of that, and Tobin back, but he was DHing for us last year. There's a lot of defensive positions that are up for grabs, and we got a lot of really talented players to compete for that. So I think a lot of internal competition for us, playing hard. As long as you go out there, execute, play hard, play the right way, and finding the best players for each position.
Your strength, we know this. We're going to talk about some of these pitchers because I think it is the strength of your team. Period. You got some dudes, but losing Schmidt, you got to have that guy that can make those pitchers effective.
Yep.
Who are you looking at?
Wyatt kind of won the backup job last year. TJ Bender, Wyatt Wathen, that is, won the backup job. He came in and did a good job when he did catch. Obviously, Xander was catching a lot.
Right.
And that's a hard position, I think, back on where maybe you don't play for, depending on the schedule, maybe you don't play for 2 weeks, and then it's like, all right, go catch. That's not an easy position to just like –
thanks, coach.
Yeah, like, all right, go catch someone you haven't caught in 2 weeks or you haven't caught in 2 weeks. Like, that's not the easiest position to be put in, but Wyatt's a kid that anything we ask, he just goes out and does it, doesn't ask questions, doesn't make excuses, he just goes out there and gives it everything he's got. So I think that's a guy that and he's worked a lot with our pitchers. I think he's got a chance. TJ is a very talented young player. I think he's got a chance to catch. We got a couple sophomores that defensively can catch. So it's going to be a good competition behind the plate. And I told those guys at the end of last year, it's like whoever is the best defensively is going to win the job. But they also are talented players that can do other things too. You know, they can play infield. Good athletes can run, do other things. So finding a role for all of them.
That was, and you mentioned and it's Raider, how it's pronounced, and Zach Tobin. Those were contributors last year. Going to be back. It'll be interesting to see. One of the things that's always, when we're talking about baseball, I grew up watching the Dodgers. Tommy Lasorda. It was late 70s, early 80s, all the way through. It was pitching and defense, and they had guys that could just hit. But, I mean, pitching was always the key to their success. And with these guys, of course, we already talked about fists, right? Landon Matthews was 8-2. Or is that, am I correct? Or is that Martin?
That'd be Matthews, yeah.
He was 8-2 with a 1.59 ERA. Drew Pickering, he was 3-1 with a 2 ERA. These guys are both juniors, and they were sophomores last year doing it. That's what really jumped off the thing to me when stats are stats, but what jumped off is those kids were sophomores doing that.
Yep.
8-2 with a $1.59. You're getting it done. How much do you think these kids, with another year under their belt, what are you expecting from these guys?
A lot. A lot out of that. And Landon, even look at him, he had 25 innings as a freshman with like a 3.5 ERA. So he was up as a freshman. Then obviously had an incredible year last year. Drew had a great year. Ren Fiss had a great year. Those guys, I think, I talked to Paul the other day. He was back for Thanksgiving break, and it's like, well, the pitching's going to be good. Because basically everyone that we lost Burkhart and Engel, but kind of you look at our innings leaders, Tyson was obviously up there with him, but the rest of the high innings guys are back. So that gives us, I think, confidence in the fact that we're going to be able to pitch it again. We just got to play defense behind them like we've talked about. But those players, Landon, Drew, Ren, again, they listen to O'Connell. They listen to what he's coaching. They go out there. They execute. They have the right mindset. When those guys are on the mound, there's something to be said about pitching, of when certain kids go on the mound, there's a lot of belief in the team that we're going to win. Right? He's going to give us a chance to win. We're going to enjoy playing behind him. They work quick. They throw strikes. They throw multiple pitches for strikes, weak contact, but they still have the stuff that can punch people out. So those guys give us a lot of just confidence. And I think, yeah, we lost a lot of really great seniors that were awesome, but those guys coming back gives us, I think, everyone an idea like, we'll be fine. We'll figure it out, and as long as we play defense behind them and they keep improving and doing what they're doing, well, I think we'll be in good hands. I think hopefully they also get a chance to prove themselves offensively this year too. They're not just POs. I think they're talented.
Yeah, because Matthews,
players.
I think, hit 250 last year.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't a huge amount of at bats,
Right.
but he was playing. So I thought that was interesting as well.
Yeah, they're baseball players. They're not just pitchers yet.
There you go.
I think they could be some contributors offensively, whatever position they go into. I think they got a chance to do it both ways for us this year.
You got any sophomores or freshmen that you think could have opportunities?
I think the name that comes to mind for the freshman sophomores is Michael Sin, big left-handed pitcher, 6'3", left-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
Through, I think it was like 6 1/3 innings for us last year. The talent, you just look at it jumps off the page. Had kind of a learning experience last year. Things can kind of speed up on you in varsity baseball.
Yes, it can.
And I've talked to Drew about this, and I've talked to Michael about it as well. It's like you look at those guys like big left-handed pitchers that are throwing hard. Up until they've gotten to high school, they've gotten away with blowing it by everyone, and then being able to hold runners on just by simply being left-handed.
Right.
Because everyone's afraid to run on youth baseball or even freshman year JV. I think. And how many people are bunting in youth baseball and doing the things? Like, we play a lot of really good teams that put pressure on us. How much have they experienced that? So putting them in that situation, learning from it, hopefully better for it this year. Michael, a very talented player, very, very talented pitcher. I think high hopes for him too. He's another one that we're excited about. And I'm sure we will have a freshman or another sophomore up. I've been here 2 years. Landon Matthews pitched as a freshman my first year. We had Michael as a sophomore, batting second, third as a sophomore when he was there. We had Drew pitching last year as a sophomore. We had 7 sophomores on our roster last year. We had 4 or 5 sophomores playing the state championship game. So we will have younger class guys. Michael pitching as a freshman last year. I think it's just kids earning it, proving what they can do, and then going out there and taking advantage of an opportunity.
You've taken over this program. This is your 3rd year, correct?
Yep, this will be 3.
What are the things that you've learned over those 3 years, and how are you applying that to the overall scope of growing your program?
Harder. It's harder than I thought, I guess.
I would imagine that.
It's harder than I thought. I've always thought, as a guy that played at Lafayette, I went there, I know all the guys that have gone through there. There's always a lot of talent at Lafayette. And I think looking back to my time, there wasn't as much investment into playing for Lafayette. And I said that to the paper last year, is if we can get these guys to play for Lafayette and play hard and play high school baseball and be invested in it with the talent that we seem to roll through, it can be a really special place to play. And it's an awesome school. It's an awesome program. And now these guys that are moving on, they're going to be back involved with it. So that was kind of my first goal, was getting these kids to appreciate Lafayette baseball and understand how good of a program it is and the privilege they have to play for it. Then I look at our style of play. I think we've implemented a style of play that our kids believe in and gives us a chance to win every game. I think we go into every game thinking we're going to find a way to win. And that was what I say was harder than I thought. When I took over, I don't think we had that sense of we're going to find a way to win. If you look at my first year, we started like 8-12 or something. And we played a lot of really good teams, but
You're always going to in the Suburban Conference, yeah.
we beat Jackson last year in a doubleheader. We played them, and that was like, I think, the moment that I saw that we realized what we were capable of, because they were a really good team that year. We ended up playing them in the quarterfinal game. And ever since that day, there's been a sense of like we're an elite program, we're a good team, and we expect to win now.
Yeah.
And it was getting them to start believing that, because there was the year before I got there, they struggled a little bit in the way that they lost that last game, all of those kids coming back. It was like a scar that it took a lot longer to get off of them than I thought. But once we were able to, and then what I see now is kind of where I envisioned it being, and hopefully we just keep getting better.
Who's your freshman JV guys, and how much are they part of the overall process of your program?
Coaches?
Yes, sir.
So kind of a revolving door at the moment. My first 2 years, we had the same freshman coaches and the same JV coaches, and we lost our freshman coach is now an assistant AD at Howell Central. We've lost a couple of guys to different opportunities within administration, so it'll be a little bit different this year. Up until this point, and Zach Ruckman has been our JV coach, and he's going to be up with varsity this year, and he's a guy I played with at Lafayette. His ability to get those freshmen and sophomores ready to play for me, because he knows how I am. He knows what I want to do.
Yeah.
The fact that like we called Tobin up on May 1st, and then he was the DH in the state championship game, but he seamlessly transitioned. His first game, he had like 2 hits, game-winning RBI against Seckman. The program and pulling freshmen up, giving sophomores opportunities to play on varsity, putting guys in situations, and then having coaches like Zach, like Drew Ellis, Tim Yergain, and Herdlicka last year, that they knew how we wanted to play, and they were always practicing that, so that if someone was pulled up, it wasn't playing a totally different game.
Right, right.
So it'll be the same thing this year.
That's important, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to build a program, because I've talked a lot about this with Kevin Mulder on our baseball talk show, and he puts that in. If you're going to have an elite program and you have talent, and I think you can do this at really high level. It's harder to do it at smaller schools just because you don't have as many kids.
Right.
So you're just trying, but you still have to develop a system.
Mm-hmm.
And putting those things in play, that's got to be an important factor within what you're trying to create.
Yeah, because we have I'm pretty strict on the system that we're playing.
Right.
You're gonna discipline, tough at bats, team at bats. It's not just not every at bat.
Every man for himself.
Yeah, like that's what I have. I think I see with teams that struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Is just selfish at bats, not team at bats, just kind of everyone up there going up there. So I think we do a lot of working pitchers, tough at bats, disciplined at bats, swinging at strikes, and then our main goal is not to hit the ball out of the yard. Our main goal is to get to first base. And yes, any player what impresses me the most is getting to first base. Walk, hit by pitch, bunting, single, whatever it is, get on base.
Right.
Because we have a lot of good athletes that play for us. We get on base, now we're a problem for the other team. The way we run the bases, I think, is pretty strong. We work at it a lot. I think it puts in just another element to other teams that play us. They're like, well, we don't want to let them on base because now it's on. And then our bunting, trying to be like Coach Perkins and Hal. I grew up watching him all the time. So I talked to him. I remember when I took over, I was like, what's the secret? He's like, bunting. So I was like, okay. And we work on that a lot too. And we've gotten a lot better at it. And just the players buying into it, that's important too. Because it's easy with bunting to kind of be like, oh, I didn't know if that was a strike.
Yeah.
Our kids love it. At the end of the year, they were bought in on bunting, base running, just finding a way on base, moving guys over, doing their job and scoring runs. It didn't really matter who got the credit or who got the hit or whatever it was. That was really cool to see. And hopefully our younger guys that watch that, returning players that experience that, it's not about individual statistics all the time. You get to that point of the year, it's about finding a way to win, playing for each other.
I love it. We're looking forward to being out for our Missouri showcase game with St. Louis Suburban Conference Yellow. It's yellow.
Are we yellow? Yeah.
You're yellow.
Someone asked me that. I was like,
I don't know. I don't care.
yeah, I know who we play. I don't know
Yeah.
the color anymore. It used to be like Suburban West, Suburban,
Oh, really?
It used to be direction. That made more sense. Now it's color. So
Yeah, it is color. Yeah, yellow, I think red, green, and blue. I think there's white, too. I think there might be 5. So
don't know.
we're trying to keep it all on track, man. But looking forward to seeing you out at Eureka. I love this because I know that's a rivalry game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I know there's a lot of the different Parkway South's always kind of been like that as well. You know, but Eureka and Lafayette, that I'm looking forward to that one.
Always fun. I was thinking about that. You sent me that you were coming at that game. I was like, we haven't won at Eureka. It's been home teams winning each game the last 2 years. They've won at their place. We've won at our place. They are talented. They play hard. Dreggy has them. They're fired up. You know,
Yeah.
they play hard. They run the bases really well. Tough at bats. Their pitching is always good. It's just a really good matchup. It's a lot of really good players.
Yeah.
It's really good baseball to watch. You know, take myself out of wanting to beat them and coaching against them. Like if you're just coming to watch that game, it is high level baseball. If I think we played them 5 times in the past 2 years, and it's always been tight.
Yeah.
You know, it's been high level pitching, good at bats. Defense is great. The base running both ways is elite. It's fun baseball to watch. I think both of our styles, we're kind of trying to do the same thing in a sense. And when you go out and watch it with the level of talent on the field, it's fun to watch.
And especially when you want to beat them so badly.
We do want to beat them badly. We do want to beat them badly.
Coach, I enjoyed that conversation a lot.
Yeah,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Everybody, head coach, Lafayette High School, Cole DuPont. Lafayette fans, get out. Support this team. Support this program. I really like what Coach DuPont's doing over there. Looking forward to watching this over the years to come. So thanks for tuning in. You like what we're doing, please hit the subscribe button down there. Hit the dinger next to it. That doesn't get you a home run, but it does get you a notification
There you go.
for upcoming episodes such as this. So it's kind of a home run.
I'll have to do that.
Yeah, please do. We love that. We appreciate it. Everybody, have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, give some advice to pitchers, Coach.
Throw strikes.
It's that simple.
Throw multiple pitches for strikes. Attack hitters.
And all you hitters, hit them where they aim. We'll see y'all next time.